This is what you call cutting it fine. Yes, good evening. We are live. It is 8 o'clock on a Sunday night on the bank holiday weekend, Sunday the 28th of May. Hello to everybody. This is the Retro Bear in the Gaming Pantry, welcoming you to another tNb gaming podcast. Thanks very much for your company today, or whether you're watching this further on, catching up or whatever. Hope you're enjoying the good weather we're having at the moment, which makes a nice change, doesn't it? We got this far and had a really hot day here, but yeah, it's been all right. A bit colder today, but not so bad anyway. So what we're doing tonight? Well, we are talking our subject of the week with our guest. We're talking the I suppose the practice of full setting game collections. You know, why do people go after full sets? Why do they want a full set of games for a certain system? Do they want to go for a full set of games for a certain system? Do they just want to do a part set or a subset? They have to go after a particular publishing house, a particular series. So the benefits of doing that with some people who've got some experience. I think actually all four of us have got certain experiences of going after sets and collections anyway. So if you've got your own experiences, you're very welcome to put more in the chat. We'll try and get to any questions or comments that you put in there, as we always do. You are, of course, the extra panel member sat there at home. We have some people in the chat already. It's a very good evening to Duncan, Woody Weeble. I hope you enjoy this one, my friend. Yeah, I know you're a big collector yourself, so hopefully you'll be able to give us some insights into what you've been doing. Gavin's here, Snoopy Man, good to see you here, mate. Mrs. Bear is here as well, downstairs. James, Retro Import Gamers here as well. Good to see James yesterday. Popped by and picked up a repaired Spectrum, so nice thing to pop over. Big Game Al's here 3 times by the looks of it. Why did you put 3 times before? I don't know. And James, Game Zone Birdroom is here as well. Would love a full Saturn set. Well, you'll need something to prop the door open with, don't you? That's what it is. It's always handy to have something like that. Or, it makes a handy set of steps. You sort of like stack them close to each other. Mind you wouldn't want to tread on those. Would you be with them cases? They'll just break and disintegrate. Very good question from Duncan. Why didn't Al complete the cube set? So we'll have to see. He can answer that. Maybe he can answer that question for himself. We'll see. Right, let's bring in our first panelist this evening. We'll come back to the comments in a second. And it's our special guest, somebody who has experience going full sets, also a well-known face around YouTube, now part of YouTube royalty. He's here again. He's been on a couple of times before. We got him back again because he's such a good guest. We like having him on. You're a friend of mine. It's Big Game Al.
Where's the royalty? I'm looking for him.
Yeah, I know. I had to give you some sort of build-up, didn't I? Because, otherwise I just said, oh, he's Big Game Al and brought you in. So.
Yeah,
YouTube royalty now, mate, isn't you?
Yeah. Still come on these shows, though.
Well, you got to support the smaller channels, haven't you?
We've got to help them out.
You're sort of like the king doing his rounds, aren't you? Going to meet the peasants in the court. That's it. There we go. Yeah. He'll milk it for all he's worth, folks. He will. How are you, my friend? Anyway, you all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Glad to be off work finally.
Oh, you're for a week or something now, are you?
I've got a bit of overtime on Friday, but other than that, yeah, pretty much.
Well, there you go. That's all right, isn't it? That's all right. Well, hopefully the weather will stay good for you. Anyway, have a good week, and I know you want to get out and about and do some charity shop hunting, I dare say.
Yeah, I've got a little list going, so yeah, I'm kind of running out. I've been a bit lazy the last few weeks, so I need to get out and do a few more. And I've got a massive pile of games to trade in. If you would have seen in my latest charity shop video, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Charity shop find, whatever you want to call it.
That's right. Yeah, you sort of got a bit struck gold with that one, didn't you? I was going to say lucky. No, it wasn't lucky. You just sort of struck gold, didn't you? That's what it was.
It's all about having friends in high places.
Advanced warning, I think, was probably the best way to describe it. But yes, but you know. I've never seen somebody say we've got these coming to stock, and somebody appears shortly afterwards outside the shop, sending a photograph, and I was like, "Yeah, it's off. How did you got there that quick?"
Well, you got to when them sort of deals come up.
That's it. See, we got yes, we had a question about why didn't you complete the GameCube set?
Because there was this game that I just couldn't find, and Duncan wouldn't give me his copy. He was out of order, The one I needed, and I said he's sitting there with it, and I said, "Oh, you could just send it to me." I could have showed it in the pickups video. He said, "I've got it." I would have sent it back.
Well, he wasn't going to give it to you, was he?
Lend.
Yeah. You'd have to put a down payment on it, though, wouldn't you? That's what I would. He's not going to send you something like that just for you to show off the video and hopefully send back to him.
Imagine that got lost in the post.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and bear in mind where you two are from each other as well. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was definitely the post, Duncan. I definitely sent it back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that copy on the shelf. That's what I bought afterwards.
So there we go. There we go. We'll see what he responds with that one. Games and Bird Room. When I win the lottery, took the James here. I'll treat you to a full Saturn set. There we go. I'm not sure why you want one of those. Danny's here. Good evening, Danny. Danny H, the Retro Gaming Master. Dave's here from 37 Retro. Put a cracking video out the other day. If you haven't seen that one, about games he got addicted to or played for long periods of time. Really interesting video. Watch that this afternoon.
I like them sort of ones.
Yeah, it's a good one, mate. It's a good one. It's certainly not some of the obvious ones as well that you associate with sort of long hours putting into a game. So definitely worth a watch. The Hit Squad collection reveal. I'm afraid not. It was not going to happen. There we go. Yeah, well, we can talk about Hit Squads. There's no doubt about that. Anyway,
James right. Well, answered my question before we move on.
What's that? Sorry.
James never answered my question. Yeah, is he going for the full Japanese set as well? Because there's a hell of a lot more Japanese games than UK ones.
This is the GameCube one, or the Saturn.
No, the Saturn.
The Saturn, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of expensive Japanese shooters.
Go for both. Go for both. If you're going to go for a PAL one, go for a Japanese one as well. Sometime. I would do. No, I wouldn't actually. No. Anyway, good to have you here, Al. We'll catch up with you again shortly. Let's bring in our other panelists. A couple of tNb lads are with us tonight. Let's bring the first one in. It's your friend and mine. He's not eating any cake tonight, but he's here to talk about games, which is good. It is the Geek Master, aka the Cake Master, aka Weirdo. Put that on the end for.
Because it's true.
Is it because the shirt you're wearing or not?
No, that doesn't make me weird. It just makes me probably hated by lots of people. Honestly, the amount of times people called me out at Comic-Con for wearing it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not just taking a piss out of United or something. All day. It was fun.
Really?
Yeah, at Comic-Con, when I went a bit of charity shop hunting afterwards, when I went to the pub in the evening. Yeah, all day I had people calling out the shirt. Not this one, it's a different United shirt.
It's like some sort of ironic statement that you'd wear something like that to a Comic-Con.
Yeah, well...
Undoubtedly from people dressed as dolphins or sort of like, some sort of dog wearing a schoolgirl's uniform or something.
I have seen men wearing schoolgirl uniforms there, yes.
Was it you?
No, but I did consider it once for a draft.
I'm not broaching that subject with any of you about it. see where that one goes. But I'll leave that to people's imaginations as to what that might be. It's good to have you here, though, Martin. Thank you very much. And again, something I know, which we'll talk about shortly, is of an interest or something you're in the midst of doing anyway, aren't you? So,
yeah.
But we will talk about
going down a bit on it, but yeah, definitely still relevant and something I'd like to talk about.
I'm gonna say I think something we've all got in common tonight, so which is quite good. Duncan's responded. Actually, yeah, James says an all Saturn set, so that answers your question. Duncan says no CX trade for Teen Titans, but would have made a good eBay video.
Would have been the only copy on eBay for years.
Win the lottery, you may as well even do Xbox. But James says it's too modern for him. Too modern for it? Oh, dear me. Like next generation along. Jamie Burton says no dissing United.
Woo! I'll take that.
Right, let's bring in our last panelist of the evening. Somebody again who's not no stranger to sort of going for full sets and then abandoning them halfway through and then going for another one. We'll get to the bottom of that one anyway, I'm pretty sure of it. Your friend of mine, Sean at Retro Games Revived. Bear Love Hit Squads. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know what's happened there, mate.
See, there's a glitch somewhere in the system, is it? Yeah. I do love Hit Squads. I don't hide the fact that I do love them. I just don't want all of them.
You've got to do. Once you start, you can't stop.
Well, we'll get to my theories on that shortly.
All right.
Keep us occupied. Are you well anyway?
I am, mate. Yes. I'm quite full now after that salad.
Yeah. So a lot of non-salad related items in that salad that I saw you have there. Oh, he's been saying all week he's been eating salads and stuff, which has been like,
I have,
yeah, of course,
I
yeah. I don't not believe you, so that's it.
Is that going to be one of your vegan videos, Sean? You're just going to eat some lettuce or something?
Yeah.
With Dad.
Sean and now look like brothers. Actually, that's
They
not
do a
far
bit,
off,
yeah.
to be fair, do they? Yeah, they're not off.
Get your headphones on, Al.
Oh,
Simon headphones on.
There's no game
it's in the other room, otherwise I would have. I thought they were down here, but they're not.
A couple of entry Mike's here as well. Good evening, Mike. Hope you're okay. And
Good evening,
Marcus from
Mike.
Dad and Lads is here as well. Good to see Marcus here. Yeah, I mean, we noticed that I mentioned it actually. Marcus passed 1,000 subs a couple of weeks back, I think it was. So congratulations on that, and to yourself and Tommy for that achievement, which brings us very, very nicely to actually very quick. I was to come from Jamie. I've never been to a gaming market, but seen a few videos being posted. Al's is one. Is there a website that lists all the events? I could only find individual events. Now, if memory serves me correctly, that one that we went to at Birmingham, isn't that run by Replay?
Replay events, yeah. If you follow them on Instagram, they let you know what events are coming up and when and all that.
Because I think aren't there two companies that do it as well? I'm not sure. Is it just the one?
Yeah, I don't know who the other one is.
I'm sure if you just type video gaming markets 2023 into Google, that it'll pop up there. But Replay ran the Birmingham game market when they tend to do most things. I think they've got
London,
Norwich.
I think they've got Glasgow this year.
Yeah.
They spread it out a bit. They only used to do it was mainly just the London, Birmingham, and Doncaster one. Now they've spread out a few other places now. So.
I usually rely on Dana to tell me when events.
Yeah, so do I.
In group chat.
He's going to start charging for that service, I'm sure, at some point. Yeah, but it's definitely Replay events that the team behind them that we went to last weekend anyway. So hope that helps anyway, Jamie. Let us know you get on with that. Right, so yeah, I was talking about Marcus and 1,000. I know he's found him on Twitter. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about Marcus and Dadlands get to 1,000 subs. While we got him here, that's not the reason we brought him on tonight, but we thought it was quite appropriate to talk about it. Our good friend Big Game Al went past 1,000 subs, which we're still struggling to come to terms with as to how that actually happened. But yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations from everyone in the tNb for reaching that, Al. And
cheers.
I mean, from your point of view, I said use the word your YouTube journey. Where do you see yourself sort of taking it from here now? Now you've reached that milestone.
Going to retire now. This is my last stream.
Yeah, finally. Finally.
I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying making the content still at the moment. I'm enjoying getting out there and hunting. People are enjoying watching them because they're my most watched videos whenever I go out and do a CX and charity shop hunt. So it's obviously what's drawing people in. If anyone out there's a big fan of my eBay series, I'm very sorry. Next Sunday's the last one. But I have to try. I have to try and find some other stuff to do. But yeah, very sadly, I'm down to like 30 items. So it ain't really worth having an eBay thing, waiting and seeing one item sell a week. Pointless.
I'm sure he's going to say revenue stream then, rather than something else. I'm sure he was.
We've got Fall Guys back now.
Well, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're sorry, Big Game L's reached 1,000 subs, but there we go. But no, I mean, like I said, I know when a lot of people start, and I've mentioned it before, to get to 1,000. Okay, it's an achievement as such.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of it. I know we've all taken the mick out of you this year for doing it. You said I'm going to try and do it proper and whatever, but it paid off. It's paid off. You got what we start? Yes, 700 something or 6 or something like that.
700,
yeah. So to achieve it in sort of 6 months, that's pretty good going. And you to be fair, you have put the videos out, you have put the time in to get things done, and
no one else
paid off.
There's a lack of YouTube content at the moment.
I think we just wanted you to get there to prove that you could do it, and then we're thinking, well, if Al can do it, then we can do it, But
yeah. Well, I just want to say congrats to Marcus anyway. He put a video out literally before we went on air. I was going to watch it, and I saw it was 58 minutes long, and I thought I'm on this streaming of it, so I can't. He's done a Q&A. I've actually asked the questions. So I need to get and watch that after this stream. So looking forward to it because I've seen their videos how they do like just the pickups one. So a Q&A is going to be hilarious.
I wasn't aware that. I'll have to watch that after one as well. Yeah. So that's it. And Rach is here as well. 8-bit Rach. Good evening, Rach. Hope you're okay. James's tip is to do some bird shorts.
you got to get a bird for that. I ain't got one.
I'm surprised you didn't buy one just to on that advice.
That's it. Yeah.
Do some cat videos. You've got a cat, haven't you? Do some cat videos.
Do cat videos.
Cat videos are very.
I watched it.
Well, they're very popular on the internet, from what I understand. People watch them.
Apparently, people don't want to see cats trying to chuck Pokeballs at Pokemon on Pokemon Go.
Put it on a skateboard or something. That's what people want to watch. Catlands fighter jet or something, Little cat and goggles on, that sort of thing. That's what people get people in. But anyway, yeah. So I'm joking aside, mate. We know you put the effort in this year, and congratulations on doing that. And the quality's still poor, but congratulations anyway.
I've heard you're going to put some effort in this year, and you're going to be the next one.
I am putting the effort. This is the effort. This is it.
That's his effort. Just let everyone else do the talking.
That's it. Yeah.
And leaves it to everyone else.
Yeah, no, I haven't got the energy to put the effort in now. That's it. I put all my effort in when I started out. Nobody's watching then, so I don't know what's happening. But anyway, there we go. Anyway, joking aside, congratulations again, mate, and we wish you all the success and continues for you as well. Now, on to tonight's subject, which is talking about full setting. Well, not just full setting in as a singular subject. The whole benefit, the whole point of going after a particular system. Why do people do it? What's the interest? Where's the attraction? Do you get to a certain point and you hit a wall? You think I'm never going to go any further? Do you sort of encounter issues with it? Anything at all relating to that? Now, as I said at the start, we've all dabbled in or still dabbling in, or half got one foot in and out the other, and got rid of stuff and started again and moved on to other things with various sets. But our good friend and guest tonight is quite experienced with this, because it's not the first. He just completed the 360 set.
Oh, congratulations, Sean. It's yet to be confirmed yet. So I could be missing some games.
Yeah, okay, but you're near as damn it anyway, aren't you? You're pretty much. As
far as I'm concerned, it's done. But until someone tells me otherwise and shows me there's actually games I haven't got physically, then I'm counting it as a full set.
How many? What's the question marks over then?
There's a Facebook group, and I've counted all of my games, and I think it was 1199.
Right.
Then someone said there's 1,206. Someone said there's 1,203. So it's like, okay, unless they're like different variants, but got different achievements.
Cover variants.
Yeah. We don't know. But until they actually show me copies of these games and I look on my shelf and I haven't got it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's done.
And that's a PAL set, is it?
Yeah. Just a PAL.
So not that.
No, that's the American exclusive.
But it is Burger King, so.
Is that still sealed?
Yeah, it is actually.
Have you got any way of playing that?
Set sealed.
Can you play that?
Yes,
it's a Burger King game, Sean. You play the king, you have to sneak big whoppers around to people.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like right up your street, mate. Lots of salad in that one.
Lots of salad.
We've cooked someone. Someone thinks
I've just seen that. Mike says, "Congrats, Alan, the guys at Dad and Lads Gaming." James echoes that. the great achievement. You've inspired Rachel to do 3 videos a year, Al. So obviously something's going on. Good evening to Phil. Philip Kears is here as well. Good to see you in. Also, congratulations to Sean for completing the full 360 set. You might have come in halfway through that. It's our gentleman friend here who's got the 360 set. Well, he thinks he has. Apparently, we're not quite sure now. And Jamie says, check true achievements.
Yeah, that is possible to check true achievements. The only problem is there's like hundreds and thousands of digital only games, so it makes it pretty hard to actually tell what was released and what wasn't.
Bit of a minefield. Perhaps this set is ever growing. Then we don't know.
Are there any homebrew ones it could include when they said like 1200 odd? Is that a possibility?
Because they've got to have achievements to it, so they've got to be done officially. They can't.
But this is the thing. We've already hit a stumbling block on the very first point of the evening. Is the fact that as far as you're concerned, 1199 is where it is. You're then being told it's anything between 1203 and 1206, and there doesn't appear to be any sort of proper way of checking this off. So I mean, how? Why is there this sort of discrepancy? Because
there was a list put out, but if you actually go through the list, it counts Ricky Ponting, which is technically just Brian Lara in this country. He's got no separate achievement list.
Yep.
Plants vs Zombies on it twice, and then there's Tiger Woods historical set, which is basically just Tiger Woods 14 on it, with no separate achievement list. So that's what I'm saying. There might be like different variants out there, but I don't class them as part of the full set. There's there's also 2 Lips games. One's a Spanish one and one's a German one. And I think there's like one song different on both of them to the UK versions, but they've still got the same achievement list.
I was going to say,
go on.
I was going to say, does that include like them handball games, for example, which obviously
there's 2 of them on there.
Germany did.
Yeah, 14 and 16.
Cornerstone City 777 said there could be a few digital only games you're missing, but we're talking physical set here, aren't we?
Physical set, yeah.
On the physical set, yeah. You can use filters on that on the game pages on the true achievements. So
yeah, the thing is, if you filter it to Xbox 360, though, it still doesn't show you physical.
So it sounds to me like you've sort of ticked all the boxes and dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's to try and find out if you've actually got the right number, but I'm still not sure.
I'm just waiting for Rob to show a game that I haven't got, then I know. At the moment, I've got all the ones he's got.
So I mean, as I said, that you've got experience going for full sets. Talk us about, for those people who don't know what you've done previously. Just put part the 360 to one side for the moment. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But what about the other ones that you've done?
So before I even started YouTube, I was after a full Mega Drive set, and when I started my first video, I only needed 9 games to complete the set. So I was doing this collecting hobby well before I even started the YouTube channel, and it took a long time to get them games. Obviously, there's 534, I believe it was. It could be 533. I can't remember whether that was counting Lake versus Celtic in it, which I don't count as part of the full set. Before anyone like Duncan in the chat starts saying, you never had a full set of that either. But yeah, so I was very experienced at getting them. I also had a fair-sized GameCube collection before I started. That was about it. Sadly, got one game away and just couldn't find it anywhere, and it just annoyed me, so I got up and sold the whole set. Which I now got the whole set back, thanks to Retro Repair Bear.
But it's not technically the same thing, though, is it?
It's still a full set, so I've got a full Mega Drive set. they're great. I don't know if I can get it out. Oh, it's over there.
Pardon? What's he doing now?
Yeah.
Not that sort of stream.
It's just what watch it now.
Here's another full set I had. I've now got it on here instead. The NES.
I was going to ask you about that one. I was going to say, didn't you get the full set for that as well?
Yeah. So what have I done? I mean, you can't count the GameCube. I was one away. So I had the full Mega Drive, the full NES, Now the full 360, which is my full set, because there's a third set that I've got. It's actually the easiest full set. So if anyone out there wants to collect a full set and say they've got a full set, I recommend you to go and buy the DSi full set.
Called it.
Dropped
what, 4 games or something?
It's 4, isn't it?
There's 4 games.
4 games.
So if anyone wants to collect a full set out there, all you need is a hair salon.
Sounds good.
Well, you lot don't. You lot.
System floor, which is still sealed. I've got to thank Eddie for that one. He actually got that for me. Hidden photo and face training. And the only reason you know that these are the
face
ones...
training.
Face training.
They're all stellar titles, aren't they?
Yeah. So as you can see, it says DSi on it. But if you're looking along the shelves, the only difference is them 2 little squares on the side.
I mean,
sorry, go on.
I assume, so that face training game, for example, came out because I think the DSi was where they added the camera.
Yeah. And it's the only one you can actually hold in your hand. Look, official full set in your hand.
I mean, technically you are right. It's a console which had 4 games released for it, so
it's technically got set. 5, but one of them's American only, so you can't count that one. It's a full PAL DSi set.
Full PAL, yeah.
There, see, this is the pitfalls of being a collector going for a full set. Is you have to go through all this and work out what it is. Champion 2D Rob's here. He was on the last episode. There he is. There he is. Champion 2D Rob was on with us 2 weeks ago. Thank you again for that, Rob, and good to see you here. More advice for you, Al. AIL, filter to physical digital 25 pages and filter to physical only, which is 6 pages. You would manually have to cross-reference and check them off.
God, how many's on each page? If there's only 6 pages. Must be like
a couple of hundred.
I would have thought so, yeah.
200 odd games on each page.
If it's 1,200, yeah, looking about 200.
Yeah, and then disregarding.
Jamie, can you get us an actual number? Does it number them? How many's on each page? Because obviously, first 5 pages are going to be full. No, you might have to count the 6th one. It might be about 100 odd games on
it. Phil's here as well. Dark Wolfheart. Good to see you, Phil. Won a few games with us on the Fall Guys the other night.
I've already found a flaw. There's a variant, eh? Apparently, there's 100 per page, and it's only 6 pages. I've got 1,200 physical games in that room over there.
Perhaps they're double printed, double sided. There are variants of DSi games. My set has 6 games.
Yeah, variants don't count.
Oh, we see, we're getting in this grey area now, ain't we? You know, some people want the variants, some people say they don't count.
See, I can call Al out on that because I remember Al saying to me that there's 243 64 games because they've got HSV Adventure Racing, which is just a variant of Beetle Adventure Racing. But so that counts as a variant, but they don't.
Well, that's because that library is so small. But
it's because of DSi.
Well, let's come to Martin. So, obviously, you're so. What set are you currently working your way through for people who don't know?
I'm going for the Nintendo 64. Surprise, surprise. I'm going for now the European PAL set, which is 239 games. However, the PAL set has 3-4 games, depends how you look at it, which were Australian only. One of which is what we just said, Beetle Adventure Racing becomes HSV Adventure Racing, Snowboard Kids 2, StarCraft, and a Ken Griffey Jr. baseball game. I've got 173 out of 239 now. I made some progress this year because it was 160, I think, at the start of the year.
So you're about 75% of the way through then, aren't you?
I'm getting towards it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you say a full set, because obviously with Al's 360, he's gone for the manuals and the completed. You're doing loose cartridges, yeah.
It's because if you start doing the boxes, it's first of all, it's going to cost a lot more than it already is. Like there's still several games that are like 20, 30 quid just as this, but also they take up a lot more space. Like, whereas obviously it's like one case might only be that thick. You're talking at least what, like an inch thick for each one, at least. So it's just not really practical if I want space for anything else.
Right.
So I am going cut only. I've got a couple of box games, and I would buy a box game if it's the right thing at the right price. But for now, I'm just going cut only.
Okay. I mean, Jamie thinks there's something wrong with your maths, Al, which is probably about right. But yeah, leave you to sort that one out there anyway. Philip says he's currently trying to complete a full PAL PS3 game collection, which currently stands at 128. Now I know Mike's in the chat. I think Mike's going for the same thing as well. A full PS3 set.
PS3 only 128.
No. He's at 128.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I must. When I read that, I thought that's I've got more than that. There we go. Jamie says there's around 3,000 different achievement lists. You have to manually check off the ones NTSC, NTSC-J, KR, etc. All the variants. So
that's the hard part, because now out of them 3,000, how do you know which ones are physical copies?
Is Rob going for the same thought process as you? So what you've got, is that what Rob's going to go for?
He's got the same list as me.
He's got the same list.
He's got the same list as me, but his number was different to mine.
But he can't have the same list then, can
he? A lot of lists
up on my list because they said it didn't count.
Lee's popped in. Hope you have a good stream tonight as well too, mate. Thanks for saying hi. Pedro's here from the VHS Bootleggers. Hello, Pedro. I've got nearly a full set of UK Thundercat comics. Can someone buy them off me, please? I'm asking for top dollar. They come with all the free gifts, etc. Issues 1 to 110. Do you know, I think I had the first one of those. I'm sure I did. But again, you know, it's not just games people go for full sets for it. It's comics and things. Oh God, he's got
no.
Am I gonna go and shave my head now just to fit in? So
no, what it is, I think my haze is really making my eyes go watery. It's blurry as anything. I can't read the comments. So I'm going to get up a bit.
Cornerstone City. Go on, Sean.
Oh, so don't take tablets I take, they'll knock it out. He'll be asleep by end of stream. Or halfway through.
It was the first person to fall asleep on stream. Many people fall asleep watching it. Cornerstone City 777 says, "Don't you worry about the console dying on you with that many games, or we'd be too scared to use it." This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, if you decide to go for a physical set, are you going to be, putting yourself at risk if the machine starts working? I know the problem that people have at the moment with certainly the more modern ones is the servers being turned off, support being turned off, achievements being turned off. I know, which is especially with the 360 and the PS3 stuff is very, very important. So it's a big risk, isn't it? It's a big risk stepping into something like that. Whereas with Martin with the N64, he's probably a bit more protected from something like that.
Yeah, especially because it saves like on the games, for example, on the cartridges or the memory cards. Like the console is literally just used to play it.
Skinheads running through the night. Pete couldn't be with us tonight, but he's dropped us a question. Good to see you, Pete. Are you okay? Can't stick around tonight, but just want to throw out that in the age of CEX and eBay, it still feels like the only skill to getting a full set of anything is how much money you can spend. Therefore, was just wondering if anyone's completed a set from just finding it in the wild.
That'd be Duncan.
Yes. Yeah. He tends to get his stuff from the wild, doesn't he, rather than...
Well, he gets a lot from CEX, but he uses vouchers from stuff he gets from the wild, so he doesn't like to pay out of his pocket.
I think that would now be an impossibility. Would you?
I know we don't do eBay, which is shocking. Having all sets without having eBay. So
I don't think my Wii set. I know that I may have got a couple of games out of eBay, but I also got a fair few out of independent shops. So I don't class that as the wild, even though it is a shop. You've probably got more chance of walking into one of those and finding a copy of Showdown for Wii, like I've got for the Wii, than walking to a charity shop and finding exactly the same game. So yeah, it's going to be tricky. That Good question, Pete. Thanks for that. Mike said he was going to go for a PS3 set, but he couldn't find a decisive list to cross-reference. Still aiming for a full PS3, but will take his time.
Yeah, see, again. Hard work.
Pete was going for a subset, which we'll get to shortly. One of the reasons he fell off the 10-gen NES set is because it was just an exciting how often I could log into eBay instead of find the chances in the wild is 0.
No, American though, so I'm not going to walk into a wild over here.
No, well, yeah, a lot of those were the American ones, but I mean, it's one of those. I only got one of my PS2 light gun subsets online. I'm pretty proud of that. That's a good little set. Yeah. Jamie says eBay has to be the way. CX lives a risk. Charity shops are not great unless your name is Al. or you have inside information.
That's it.
Ronnie Pickering is here.
Ronnie Pickering. Oh. Ronnie Pickering.
Philip says, I also hope to complete a full PAL PS2 game collection, which brings very nicely on to you, Sean, because you were going to try and attempt that mountain at one point, weren't you?
I was indeed, yeah. He's a brave man, and hopefully he's got the big hitters out of the way first. But yeah, I mean, it's what.
I read a message ages ago to reply back to Jamie, and I just realised I hadn't even sent it.
But yeah, I was going for it myself at one point. PS2 PAL set. Naively, I dived into it, not realising that it was such an hard set to complete, or expensive certainly. Obviously, I went the opposite way to Eddie. In terms of what games I was buying, I was just buying all the cheap crap sports games, FIFAs, all that, and then working my way up to the higher end titles, which I shouldn't have done. Really, should have gone the other way. But even so, there's still a lot of big hitters on PS2. So I got to a point where my focus had moved on to other systems, namely Commodore 64, and I found more enjoyment in collecting them. So that's why I decided to abandon the PS2 set. But yeah, I mean, Commodore, there's subsets galore, and I'm loving that. Actually, we're still. I will go back to PS2. Actually, I did get rid of a set, and now I'm collecting it again. That's bloody blast.
Oh, back again.
That again, yeah.
So that's like a subset of the PS2 section, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it is. It's
all the
basically it's basically Mastertronic reinvented as Blast, or the one at the time. So yeah, I didn't really think about it at the time, and I got rid of all my PS2 games. But yeah, I suppose a little bit of regret, and yeah, I want the Blast set again. It's not hard. It's not overly hard. So I think every game that I've searched for has come up on eBay. Probably a little bit more expensive now collecting for it than what it was when I did it, but yeah, it's just how it is. But not too expensive.
So like that then, Sean.
I think I've just got that, mate. Actually, Captain Scarlet. Yeah,
it's not a good game. I tried it years ago.
I don't think any of them are, mate.
No.
No, I'm a massive Scarlet fan. So I bought this years ago, and there you go. Recognise that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was Sean's.
Yeah. Manual game. Yeah.
Let's have a. Duncan says he can never complete the full cube set again. There isn't the stuff to buy at the car boots, charity shops, etc. To get for stuff for tray strokes. What things have changed since I completed the set about 7 to 8 years ago? I think he's about right on that one.
I mean, as an example, I can tell you, Paper Mario on GameCube. My brother bought it 10 years ago. It was 18 quid. It's now last only about 120.
Really?
It's about 90 odd trading at the moment, I think, from Callum's latest videos. I think he was thinking about trading that one in.
Said, wasn't it?
93, yeah. Based at least all the FIFA shovelware will be cheap to find.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Not all of it. Not the very last ones.
No.
All rates finds is charity FIFAs in charity shops.
I find the weird pickups. I found I think I shared it in the tNb group, but I found a proper German SingStar on Friday.
Oh yeah, posted that, didn't you? Yeah.
And it's properly German. It's like got actual German bands like Urbuten and Pollmann. It's like actual proper German bands singing German songs. So it's not even like just German version of our songs.
40 military marches and umpire songs. Great, fantastic. Can't wait to hear it.
It doesn't have the one German song I know, which is Neun Nutzig Luftballon. That's the only one I know.
That's the only one everyone knows.
This is dearth of good German pop bands. Yeah, rates might be all the FIFAs because they come round. Well, one day they won't exist. They won't be any left anyway because people will have the attitude as their FIFA games. They'll just be worthless and throw them in the bin.
And
but
there are no more FIFAs.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
well,
the last one.
The last lot.
Yeah.
Well, by EA anyway. They could still carry on the FIFA franchise. You never know.
Well, they could do, but
they'll find another publisher.
Yeah, we'll have to see, won't we? I doubt it, but
yeah. We'd have heard about them making it by now.
I'm going to come back to that question from Jamie in a second. I just want to, because that's where I was going with my next round. So I'll come back to that in a second, Jamie. But James says definitely better to buy expensive first. I managed to buy the cheaper Wii U games first, but you are just delaying the inevitable, and you end up paying more in the long run. Philip says my brother was a big fan of Total Club Manager games back in the day. Rach says she could cry at the game she just gave to charity or sold on eBay years ago for a few quid and seeing how much they're worth now.
Can imagine.
eBay can be good if you accrue nectar points to purchase items, and the new people will be NFT. I presume that doesn't mean National Film Theatre.
Non-fungible TV.
What's that mean, Phil?
Yeah.
Non-fungible token, or whatever they call them.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is anyway. Yeah, let's go this question then from Jamie, because I thought this was a really good one. I was coming round to this one. I have zero intentions for full set. I only want for a full set. I only want games on my gamer tag, so Xbox 360 onwards. What makes you guys want a full set? Alan, I mean, you've done enough of these, so you're probably the person best to answer that question.
And I've got the answer for him. Right, so you hear about sets, and you probably hear about 20 to 50 games that are probably worth collecting, yeah? But how do you know yourself as a player if any of the other ones ain't like little hidden gems to you unless you play them? So if you've got all the games, you can play them all. Simple as. And that's what pushed me to get in full sets. Was like, you never know. There might be a game that everyone says is trash. You try it. Could be the best game there was.
But then that leaves you open to what about the other 400 or 1,000 odd that are there?
Well, I mean, for me, I went for a Mega Drive. They're all pretty good. You're going for a Wii. You found any good ones in there yet?
I'm not going for a Wii full set. I never said I was going for a Wii full set.
Come on, confirm it now.
You what, sorry?
Confirm it now that you're going for it.
You're not pulling that stunt with me again. I tell you, no, not falling for that one again.
What these lot don't realise is your PS2 collection is actually bigger than your Wii set, ain't it?
It probably is. I'll keep saying it's neck and neck. I must be under an account for a long time, but it's probably not far off it. But I never went with the intention of going for a full set of Wii games. At the time, it was just a case of what could I get. I fell down that other trap. I think James mentioned there about buying games. Start buying the games cheaply, and then you realise you've got the expensive ones left over. But at the time, I was just happy to be able to pick games up for a certain price because I was on a budget then. And so, in order to continue a hobby and build a game collection, that was very much the case. I could go out, and I said this many times before, go out with a 10, 15 quid and come back with a bag full of games. And that's how I built it. And then, for some reason, you end up sort of turning around one day and there's half a wall of Wii behind you. It just happens like that. But I've never had the intention of going for a full set. I've never had an intention of going for a full set ever. I mean, Sean mentioned, about Commodore 64. The best way to collect for that one is just to get the games that you like, because the same with Spectrum and same, and to a lesser extent the Amstrad, there were literally tens of thousands of games. You're never going to get a full set for something like that.
No.
And when we come around and talk about it again, we'll ask you about a bit more of the ones that you've been doing for that, Sean. But I mean, I wouldn't want a full set of anything really.
Hit squads.
No, I don't want a full set of hit squads.
Nearly there.
Put the hit squad after him.
And you're nearly there. There's not that many of them.
I've across the 3 systems I've got them for. I've probably got a full set across the 3 systems. No, I haven't. I've got too many across it. But again, I like hit squads. I like how they look, and for me, it's a nostalgia thing. And I don't, I don't need the equivalent of, Ricky Ponting's cricket to say I got a full set for them.
So I always get confused with the hit squads because ain't they meant to be like the budget range?
Yeah, the hit squads were budget re-releases of full price titles.
So why is there somewhat like £500 plus if they're meant to be budget?
Because some of them were released very, very late and had a small run. Some didn't sell at all. The later they are, the more they cost, and some titles just didn't sell. But for those people who were around at the time, it was a very nostalgic thing to have. You talk, all the magazines had all the adverts for them. You remember the big colourful adverts that were there, and again the whole uniformity of it, and the fact that they were all classic. I say all of them, most of them were classic game. No one's going to call World Series Baseball a classic game, because it wasn't. But for a lot of us growing up in that time, most of the big name arcade conversions that were on there came out were put onto that label. Afterburner, Midnight Resistance, I think was one of them. Cabal, Operation Wolf, Operation Thunderbolt, etc., etc. A lot of them ended up on that label, so therefore, for people to collect it's something they want to go ahead and do. But going back to Jamie's question again, which I'd be to have lost, I'm so far. I'm probably 50% to the Wii. I'm probably about 30% to the PlayStation 2. I'm probably about 50% on the Master System. Again, I've got about 100 Master System games now, and someone said, you might as well go for the full set. I don't want to go for a full set. I just want a set which is nice, and I have a lot of games for it, and that's the ones that I'm concentrating on, to get all the nice boxes and the manuals and whatever, and have a decent set of that, and say, okay, I ain't got a full set, but there's a nice collection there.
So I've got a question for you then.
Go on.
At what stage, what percentage of the game collection do you then go, I've got like such and such percent of these now, I might as well just get the last few?
Well, I'm never going to get to the last few, so.
Yeah. Not so much for you then, but like for Martin and Sean, once they've got like, was it more than 50%? You think I might as well go for it, or?
Martin's at 75 on the N64, isn't he? So.
But I think the thing is, I was going for the full set way before, like even when I was like 25%. I had like a lot of the ones I liked, not all of them, like the ones I could get. And then it was that, well, I thought, no, I'm going to go for the full set. It's my favourite console. I'm just going to go for the whole lot. But it's not a point where I'd be like, I'm just going to go for the full set. Really, like, for example, I had the Master System games. I had quite a lot of them. I was like roughly halfway, but I decided not to do it. If anything, I went the other way. So I wouldn't say there's a percentage where I'm like, I'm just going to go for the full set, because A, the cost, B, the space, and C, to be honest, the 64 is the only set I want, like proper full set.
What about you, Sean?
You see, I never look at any of my sets and think, I've got so many percent of it, I'll carry on and I'll do it. I will decide beforehand whether I'm going to go for that set or not. Like the alternative set, I'd made my mind up, before I'd even probably got 5% of it. I thought, right, I'm going to go for that. I've got a couple of subsets which I've mentioned before, which were really easy. The Bulldog, the Cartoon Time, GBH. I've got full sets of those, but those are only small ones. I've got the Silver Bird, obviously. That were a big one to collect for. And again, all those I decided before, and that I was gonna go for a full set with them. Bulldog and Cartoon Time. I actually looked them up and saw how small the sets were. So that obviously set me going with it. But yeah, so far I've never really looked and thought, right, I've got so many of these games now, I'll just collect for them. Well, 8 Squads, I've been on and off with those. I started when it were all hyped up. I started and I was going for them, and then obviously you realise that some of them are rare, hard to find, hard to get hold of, and kind of slowed down with those. I picked back up again, and then again it's just slowed down. But I will still be collecting for them. I will still go for a full set, but the urgency of the 8 Squads is nothing compared to alternative. What else have I got going on at the minute? Sparklers, even. I'd sooner collect for those than the 8 Squads. But yeah. So no percentage really for me, Al. It's just I'll decide there and then.
I was going to say quickly about the question there. I'd also went for my 64 set because I've known for a long time it's my favourite console. It's the one I've had the most pleasure playing. Partly nostalgia, but actually because I still enjoy playing a lot of the games. Even the ones people are like, "Oh, surprise, GoldenEye, Ocarina," but some odd ones, Extreme G, Pokemon Stadium 2, which isn't talked about that much. But also, because I've always enjoyed playing with other people, my brother, my mates, Manda. So it's like, you know what? There's loads of games that I never got to try when I was younger. I already enjoy the console. Let's go for the full set. And I might find something else I really enjoy.
That's the good thing about the N64, because obviously it was designed for a family, because the first console that had the 4 controller ports built in.
Exactly, and I mean, there's so many multiplayer games based on that. You get the stadium mini games, Mario Party, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, loads of good ones like that.
Yeah.
Okay, just catch up with some of the comments. Eddie's here as well.
Evening, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie's okay. Mrs. Bear says we subset just the white ones.
I think if you're missing then. Mario Olympics, Mario Bros.
Yeah, that's it. I'd much rather go for the coloured spine ones. I've got 2 of those. I think that's pretty close to being a set. That
I've got the 64 subset. There's only 3. If you do UK, I've got them all. One of them is £70 though, to be fair.
Oh, okay. That's not to be sneezed at, is it? Duncan says Kirby was the highest £60 equivalent game at the trade for. This is going back to the full GameCube set. Teen Titans and Gadget Racers were all cheaper. That is not the case now. Spectrum full set. That's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean that is going to be. For those people who don't know, that is going to be an impossibility because no one knows how many games came out for that. There might be games. Games may have been created and sort of sold about 6 or 7 copies, and that was it. There's no idea for what that would be. Phil went for a full collection of Pokemon Mini.
Oh, nice! I'd love to get one of them. They're I don't know who knows them, but it looks like a Tamagotchi, but it's got mini games on it with Pokemon. I think you can play them on Pokemon Channel, at least some of them. I always wanted one, but I never got to have one.
I've seen one, but I wanted too much for it, so I left it.
Eddie says DSi full set was the only one I needed, or we did mention that one a bit earlier.
Well, it's missing the variant full set.
I remember Eddie telling me about ages ago. Years ago.
That's what he told me. That's why I bought it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is again the pitfall. Currently got Phil said currently got Resident Evil 4 for GameCube, PS4, and the Wii. Again, that's the thing. You sort of collecting sets. There are crossovers of games. I think I must be the only person in the world who's got 3 copies of Open Season. One for the Wii, one for the Xbox, and one for the PlayStation 2. I don't know why.
Have you played it yet?
I haven't even seen the bloody film.
I started playing it. It's one of the worst kids games I've ever played.
Great.
I
look forward to playing that 3 times. Fantastic. Yeah. See which one's the worst.
Complete.
What's that?
3 games you could actually complete.
I don't know, mate. You never see me play games, have you? I don't know. I'm going to get on with that one. I've got another good question there, which I might come back to. Rob says, I've been collecting for nearly 15 years and never felt the impulse to go for a full set. Eddie points out quality over quantity is much more satisfying, and I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You wouldn't know that looking behind me, but one thing. James said, I never wanted a full set for any system, but did get sucked into the Wii U because it was small and the chase of finding them all got addictive, and there was a sense of achievement when I got them all. Wouldn't do it again though. But again, that's 170 odd games, wasn't it? I think 173.
I think
like that.
I think it was about 100 when I was
165. I think there was 165, but I don't think that included like some of the ones after that came out, like after they officially stopped production, like that Finding Teddy 2. I mean, the thing is, I actually had both of them when they first came out. Like they were 30 quid each, and now they're what, 200 odd quid. I mean, I traded mine in to the Retro Hunt to get a Mega CD instead.
No, I see. I saw
So
one.
when you saw them out in Retro
No,
Hunt,
they're your copies.
that Finding Teddy 2 and the Quest from Game Boy and the boxed Alex Kidd Miracle Ball for Switch, they're all mine.
Was the Shoot 'em Up collection yours as well? Because he sold that. The Shoot 'em Up collection, was that yours as well?
That was, yeah, that was mine.
That.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't in the videos, but yeah.
I said, did you get both of them? He's like, oh yeah, but the Shoot 'em Up one sold already.
Yeah, they were mine. I traded them in for the Mega CD I got and Rebel Assault for it, and then later on Leaf Green. I'd much rather them, to be honest.
Oh yeah, mine was still silver and I sold them, so that shows you.
Mine were. Yeah, mine were.
But if you do want to play them, just get them on the Switch. I've got the Shoot 'em Up collection on the Switch. It's a much easier way. Cost me about 25 quid.
Some good questions coming in the chat tonight as well. I'm going to try. I'm just trying to star all these, so I just work out I don't miss anything. But there's 2 or 3 questions. We will get to these because I think that they're absolutely key things for us to answer. It's part of what we were planning on talking about. Duncan says, I had plans to get a Neo Geo Pocket Color, N-Gage and Gizmondo sets, but that will never happen now. All 3 sets are small sets. I dare say this one's a small one as well. Eddie's nearly got a full set of Virtual Boy, but I don't want to complete it as I have no interest in the games left over. Well, that's again the issue of it. You know, if you're going for a full set, you've got to get everything. So do you really want the ones that you got no interest in?
Is it like 15 games or something?
Yeah,
it's 17 or something, is it?
It's a really small set, and actually at the market last week, I saw first thing I've seen actually in person Virtual Boy games.
I've seen a couple of people get like the EverDrives for. I think there's about 80 games, but I think that's all regions.
Yeah, but I've never actually seen any, actually physical copies in the flesh before. So
no, going back to the Gizmondo just mentioned, it's like same there. I only knew about it because when I was sorting out FIFA, there was I think 05 on it, and I'd never seen a Gizmondo game, never seen a Gizmondo until I went to a shop down South London like a month ago. But it's like so obscure. But it's so small as well.
But if you're trying to collect a brand across X number of systems, then you're going to need that and the system to play it on, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm not doing FIFA now as such.
I know there's one set you're going for because I'm going for the same one.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've got it in my pile ready to talk about it later.
We shall wait.
If it's what I think it is, there's no way I could get them all out and take up a whole bloody table.
Yeah.
I know that from when I did my video like not that long ago.
You may be able to see mine in the background.
Except from one game. See mine.
Surrounded by gin. Yeah.
No, I'm not a gin drinker. I prefer ginger beer.
Well, Al's got gin. You've got cake, I expect. So that's what it is.
I got fruit pastels.
Got what?
Fruit pastels.
Well, that's close enough.
You need to Jaffa Cake gin.
Oh yeah, yeah. Exclusive pickup from Aldi. Fruit pastel.
Yeah. They're not even the proper ones.
I know. I was thinking cheapskate. More money for games.
Mike says Sean's to go for the full 32 Dragon 32 set.
There's probably more titles on that on Dragon 32 than you'd think, really.
I would have thought so. I mean, it might be relatively small though. You'll have to look into that. That might be achievable. You never know.
Possibly.
That's right. Ray said she never wanted the full set, probably because I just know I'll never be able to achieve it. I agree. Luckily for me, most of the games I want are proper El Cheapo ones that are 99p on eBay. That's the best way to do it. David says, I can kind of understand collecting a series of games over multiple systems. Final Fantasy collection starting with the NES and ending with the PS5, for example, if that's your thing. And again, that's, people have been fans of a certain genre. We touched on FIFA because Martin was going to go and try and get all the FIFA games across all the systems and
COD.
and decided it was probably best not to. Yeah, COD, you're right there, Sean, as well,
Did you get the Haddock variant?
The what?
The Haddock variant.
The Haddock variant. COD. COD, no. I'll explain it.
I said Hazard. Hazard variant. I think it was. What's the other? Oh.
I'll explain it later. We'll send you some pictures. Yeah.
We'll go for a fish biology lesson.
Philip says an Atari full set. Again, that
Which system?
Which system? Probably guessing a 2600 because the 7800 is going to be relatively small. I think Team UK is going for that at the moment. It's about 60 games, but again, some of those he's now got about 10 left, I think, and those are the really hard ones to find.
Yeah.
And I think the 5200 would be a lot smaller than that as well. Going back to the Pokemon Mini CEX, sell those, says Duncan. Mark C. Judge Drock says 2023 is a bad time to collect a full set of anything C64. James says 161 in the Wii U set, I think, from memory, but could be wrong. Rachel's also got Fruit Pastels as well. And hashtag whoosh for Sean there. So there we go. Right, let's go back.
That's misheard. Can I just ask before
his head and his picture?
before say else? What set are you going for now? That's to Judge Drock, Mark. What set are you going for now?
Well, we'll wait for Mark to reply. Let's go back to this first question, which again, Cornerstone City 777 says, "What about the games that have DLC?" I guess he's probably sort of aimed at Al, really. Do you need the DLC to count it?
If it come in a physical sense, then yeah. Which means if it come on a piece of paperwork that still works, then you could technically count that because sometimes that's the only way to get the DLC. But if he's talking about just buying it, a lot of it is being closed down now, so you can't buy it. So therefore, I'd never be able to get a full set with the DLC.
Okay.
So just as a quick thing, for example, like I'm just obviously got my PS4 recently, and I'm after Horizon Zero Dawn. But I know there's the normal one and the complete one, which has extra stuff on the disc. So would you count them as separate, Al?
I think I've got what you're talking about here.
He's gone wandering off now.
Not
allowed to do that without being supervised.
He's like Tottenham this season.
He's talking about that one.
Yeah, because I know there's the normal one. That's the thing. Would you count that separate from the normal one, like the one that first came out?
I'd count this as I'd count it as the same game, but I bought a sealed copy just to make sure that I have got the DLC in it when I eventually get around to playing it. Just haven't played it yet. But I wouldn't count that as a separate game. But so I'd literally just say you'd get that one.
Okay.
Aren't you worried though at some point that you might not get around to playing it quickly enough before they turn the servers off?
I'll stick it on eBay tomorrow.
It's your answers for everything. I'll stick it on eBay.
Well, if you open it second hand, it's only about £5 in CX, and I'll get it off you.
Yeah, with the unused code in it.
Some good questions coming in tonight. Thanks for everybody who's putting the questions in. Mrs. Bear's got a question for the esteemed panel. Are there any full sets that don't have really hard to find expensive games?
Yes,
All right. Any sets more than 5 games? Have they got any more really hard to find expensive ones?
Right. So when I first started collecting the Wii U, I think the most expensive game was about 50 quid. And then I did the stupid thing and bought most of the cheap ones first. I did have a few of the expensive ones. And then all of a sudden, games like Walking Dead went from like 25, 30 quid to just seeing it on shelf in CEX to about 110 quid overnight. And that was when I decided that I weren't going to go for the Wii U anymore. They're not even rare. They're just common games. They're just the prices on them just shot up for no reason.
This is quite an interesting question because some of the games that I've got now are expensive games. So therefore, if I was trying to go for a full set now, and that time period was then and swapped around. So, for example, if I was doing what I was doing with the Wii, back when I picked up, say, Beat the Beat Rhythm Paradise, which is I think somewhere between a £50 and £70 game. Now, when I bought that, it was about £5 a game. So that game now has now become an expensive game. So what I'm sort of trying to get at here is that when I started doing some of these big, bulk purchasing stuff and not going for a full set, obviously, so I'll get away with that. Some of those games now which are expensive were cheap then.
Yeah,
some of that.
The Wii U.
Yeah, and also some of those games were expensive and still are.
Yeah,
I've got like a different take on it, which is like maybe like I don't even know if there's really any like full sets for consoles that are like that, but I'd say there's potentially like full sets if you go across a franchise. Like, I mean, I don't think there's really many, if any, really expensive like James Bond games, for example. It's like some are a little bit more, like GoldenEye's like £20, but there's none that are like particularly expensive. But there's a few across a good system, so like they're different. I'd say like maybe from that perspective, I'd say that feels it. But console wise, I don't think there probably is really.
No, I agree. I think it'd be very hard pushing out to find any kind of set, even subsets that are easy or cheap to do. I think in every set there's always something, a game that's like I say hard to find, or it's prices are through the roof for it for whatever reason.
I just think that with the Master System, I just think there's maybe about 4 or 5 games that were quite expensive, but the rest of them seem to be reasonably attainable. But now I think that's changed quite a bit, and there are some now which are moving into that quite expensive bracket. Well, I would class it expensive. We're talking sort of 40 quid upwards, and again having to be in a good condition to justify paying that price for it. But I think again it depends on the market. Like I said, some of those games I bought were dirt cheap. Some games I bought for absolute peanuts, and I've now found out how much they're worth. And I mentioned that in my Birmingham Market video, Demolition Girl on the PlayStation 2. I picked up for £3 off Amazon and on sale for £50 at the market.
Yeah, well, I think like before lockdown, games were a lot cheaper because I remember I was with Duncan. We went to the London Gaming Market, which was literally a week before lockdown, and we were walking around, and they had a copy of Gadget Racers on the GameCube, and he had £190 on it. And Duncan turned around and said to me, "Oh, that's going to be the first £200 GameCube game." And now it's like nearly £500. And that was only 3 years, not even 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, 3 years ago.
About just gone 3 years now. Yeah.
3 years, yeah. So 3 years ago.
But if you needed the full set, would you pay that for it now? If you needed that game to complete it?
Well, I wouldn't pay that now. No.
Would you paid one? Would you paid £190 at the time?
I paid more than that for my copy. So yeah.
So yes, you would have done. You would have done then, but you wouldn't pay it now.
Yeah. I would have bought it there and then, but I didn't have the money on me. It was like just before payday, and I didn't have the funds available.
Okay, another question Duncan's asked here. Who on the panel will be attempting a full set if they were not on YouTube? I know YouTube was probably the reason I got the Cube. Well, I mean, you were mentioning it, Al. You nearly had a full Mega Drive set before you came onto YouTube, so I suppose that sort of answers that question, doesn't it, for you?
Yeah, that's it. Would I have gone for any of the other full sets? Probably not.
I mean, for me, I was collecting before then anyway. I thought, what was I going for? I was just buying stuff in general. There's nothing else I've really focused on. And I was collecting massively for the Wii before I got onto YouTube. So, being on YouTube sort of helped going after the Wii games, but I was already going through those to start with. I actually had probably collected more for the PlayStation 2 at the time. What about you two down the bottom? Yeah. I've got to say, Al, you're going to have something else.
I know. I was going to say, like, I was talking to Eddie like during lockdown when we had like all this spare time, and obviously CEX has got all of your records from like when you opened up your account basically, and we was going back like 5 years before that, so we're looking at like 2015, and we was looking at the games we'd picked up, the systems we were collecting for, and how much we bought them for, and it was like some Mega Drive games it was literally costing me more to post them than what I was actually paying for the games. It was ridiculous. like I was buying the games mint for like $5. You wouldn't even hear of that now. You can't even buy. I don't even know what the cheapest box one is, but it's probably more than $5. But it's like we was going through it, just like in one of these after party things we used to do in lockdown, what no one does anymore. And we were just chatting and chatting. It was like now I wouldn't even attempt to go for a set like that now, because back then I was finding them at car boots, charity shops, walking into CEX, and they'd had loads in there because nobody wanted them. It wasn't a popular thing to do like 10 years ago. Nobody wanted a Mega Drive game. So I probably got lucky when I started collecting it. I had to pay a lot for the last few because I left the bigger ones till last, but I still wasn't paying anywhere near what they're worth now. And I just wouldn't do it. I don't know who would. Which is crazy. Unless you've got like 90% of the set before lockdown, it's not worth it.
Go on, Martin.
I was going to say, I know I was collecting before I did YouTube, because I know I started just after I finished my Masters, and I was collecting during that time. I think I was sort of going for the 64 set, but I hadn't really like gone into it as much as I have now. Like, I was collecting them bit by bit, like going for a full set. But I think since I started YouTube, I've gone a bit more all out on it. So it's like just pushed me to do it more. But I think I had started a bit beforehand.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly say that. I mean, I've always been a collector. I'm a collector more than a gamer. It's in my blood. I'll probably do it, for the rest of my life, collecting games. But so yeah, even if I went on YouTube, I'd still be going for full sets, subsets, and what have you. But I mean, don't get me wrong, YouTube has certainly helped. Spur me on sometimes with collections and that. Being able to share what you've recently bought and seeing what other people bought, it's spurred me on to collect certain things. So, yeah. But if I'd quit YouTube now, I'd carry on collecting, definitely.
Okay. Hope that answers the question, Duncan. I'm going to come back to Rachel's question very quickly. Just Eddie points out, is anybody going for a Billy bookcase full set?
I've tried to run out.
James did contemplate a full Atari Jaguar set. There's only about 50 games. He has about half, but there are some big money crap games. It's always a problem. We did ask Mark this. Mark did respond to your question, Sean. Over 30 sets and just going for weird little known games these days. Just about finished the sets from the software houses I enjoyed most in the 80s. Yeah. So then the sets being C64 houses from 83 to 87. So that's Alligator, Task Set, Thalamus, Mogul, Rabbit, etc.
Nice.
Before we come back to Rachel's question, quick hello to Jangia, who's here as well. Hope you're okay, Jangia. Nice to see you in again. Quick question for Alan. Would you go for an Xbox One set?
No.
Okay. Right.
just for the pure fact that there's so much on Game Pass and games I've already completed, and as far as I'm concerned with the Xbox One, they're probably all going to be switched off soon. So if I've completed them, what's the point of having a coaster just sitting on my shelf?
What about Xbox then? Because obviously they're not digital, are they? All of them.
What? The original? What?
Yeah.
OG Xbox.
Yeah.
I was going for the only on Xbox titles, but then I lost the list. I managed to find it again now, so you might see a few more OG Xbox games turn up.
Paul's going for that in here as well. I think Northern.
I'm trying to push him to go for the full set.
But that's like a subset of a proper set, which I do want to sort of touch on. Because I know subset
I've got a big part of it.
There's a lot of questions tonight, which is good. It's nice to see some questions. Make us work hard for our non-payment tonight.
This is what you get for 1,000 subs now.
This is it. Yeah. Everybody wants a PC now, man. That's what it is. So.
They got to ask them now because if they ask it in the comments, they don't get reply in me videos.
Yeah, that's not going to change going forward, folks. Don't worry, it's not going to change that. It's still going to be the same. Question from Rachel: does anyone feel a bit of an anticlimax once the collection is complete, or do you start hunting for something else? Now, I remember when I was talking to our dear late friend John about when he was going to get to when he completed the 360 set, what was he going to do next? And I think he said, I don't know, I'll probably try and find something else to go for, because I know he's collecting for the Game Boy on the side as well. So although his passion was getting the 360 set, he was also getting a lot of Game Boy games. And I suspected he probably would have carried on doing that. I mean, again, having not completed the collection, I can't really answer that one.
I know he was going for the Mega Drive because he was less than like 80 away from the full set as well. Because he bought a lot of mine off me.
That's right, yeah. I mean, again, you've completed these. It obviously hasn't dampened your enthusiasm to start going for something else, has it, really?
So I asked that question earlier about when did you decide you was going for the full set, what percentage? Well, as soon as I finished the Mega Drive set, I sat here and thought, oh, what am I going to do now? And I had 0 NES games at the time, and I just went, I'm going for the NES set, and I think I've done it in 5 months.
There's no rush to get them, is there? No rush to get them something like that.
Well, sometimes there is because I was going just cart only. Most of them were really cheap. So, and then when I went to sell them, they shot right up in price. So it worked out well.
Again, a lot of questions. I'll just pick out the comments which here. Champion 2D Rob said, even if I continued going for a full set, I'd never get past the endless yearly sports titles and crappy kiddie games. That's a fun getting those, isn't it?
They're the best ones.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Martin will testify there's some really embarrassing Wii titles to get hold of.
Yep.
My First Song, Diva Ballerina.
It's my birthday.
Yeah, Babysitting Party, Disney Princess games. Yeah, you're not a proper gamer until you've walked into a shop and paid physical money for those. Not taking the easy way out and order them off eBay or CX, anything like that. No, physically go into a shop full of people and hand over your hard-earned cash for a copy of Princesses on Ice. There you go.
Why Rob's got that question there? Well, that comment there. I was going to save this for later, but it probably brings it up to a good time of some of the great Xbox 360 games you can own.
Oh, I'll give him the big screen. Here we go.
So, if you've got £15-20, you can get all of 5 minutes of Avatar and the Burning Earth, the Legend of Aang, whatever it is. Because all you have to do is stand in the corner and smash the B button for about 4 to 5 minutes, and bam, 1000G. Or you could own My Horse and Me too.
Yes.
Everybody's got that one. That's not embarrassing. Everybody owns a copy of that now.
Only the people going for the full sets. Yeah, so I'm one of the ones who haven't completed this yet. There's also a Hannah Montana game, which I didn't bring out, but yeah, that's another great one that gets dropped if someone's going for a full 360 set. You could have gone years ago and paid over £100 for a copy of Obat Patang 2.
What the hell's that?
French.
It's a French bowls game.
I thought
I think Petank's a French game, which it's not quite bowls. I think it's a similar though.
Yeah.
Sure I've heard of it.
I thought it was a snail up front.
But funny story about this. These were going for about 120 to 150 on eBay. And then someone in France obviously found a great big warehouse full of them. Flooded Amazon with them for like 20 quid. Everyone bought a copy of it, as well as like a few copies to sell. And if you want a copy of this, you can get it sealed on eBay now for about £5.
I might have to do that for a laugh.
So going back to variants, I mean, I got told this was part of the full set. I've counted it as part of my full set. I don't know if it is or not, but it's got a completely different achievement list to the actual game. But this is Lost Planets, but this is the Colonies edition, which apparently is a completely different 1000G achievement list to just Lost Planets. So this counts apparently. And if you're ever looking for the hardest game to find, the one that took me absolutely ages to find to complete the set is Madden 17. So yeah, going back to the sports games that you can get for full set in it. There you go.
Well, it's like
Joys
FIFA
of-
19, what, 50 quid nearly?
Yeah.
What is?
FIFA 19, it's like 45 quid or something stupid.
And what's bad about FIFA 19 now is because they've closed down the servers on it, so any of the online achievements you can't get.
Right, speaking of crappy kids games, I'm going to show you this one. Yeah, it takes a real man to walk into a shop and pay money for that. Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
I didn't have to be haunted with a brown paper bag or anything. No. Needless to say, it is mint condition. Yeah, Diva Ballerina on the Wii for anybody who's listening.
I
Not watching.
that.
You had that one, did you? I thought you had my first song or something, which is probably even worse.
Yeah, I had my first songs. I had, but I'd like the Diva Ballerina one, I think, as well. I do have Cats.
Cats.
Cats. That's not. That's just. Yeah. Okay.
I've got dogs. Does that count?
You got dogs. Yeah.
Dogs.
That's not the only one, though. I think I've got it on DS as well.
Okay, one copy is bad enough, but two. Hello.
And I've got another cat game.
We need another week where we do worst games we own.
I don't know. I've never played that one, but I'll have to, yeah. So yeah, if you take a real person and walk in the shop and buy that because you know, it's like I don't really want. You know, when I first started doing this, I thought I'm not going to buy any of them crap games, Hannah Montana stuff. I'm not going to touch them with a barge pole. And then you sort of fall into it. You think, hang on a second. What's the chance of missing this game ever again in this condition? Never. What if I carry on buying Wii games and get close, 800, 900, whatever, without actually going for a full set? I'm going to need that at some point, aren't I?
Yeah.
So you are going for a full set.
Yeah.
No.
You found it. That sounded like it, didn't it?
Moving swiftly on. A UK poll, Zumba was the hardest and dearest game to find the Wii U for me, says James. Last time I looked, it was about £300 to £400. Depends how much you like Zumba, really. eBay makes Nintendo store look cheap now, says Cornerstone City.
What was stupid was, I think till the end, FIFA 13 on Wii U was still 50 quid on the eShop.
What?
Yeah, last time I checked, it was 50 quid, and it wasn't that long before the eShop shut.
Good grief.
They're selling you.
Phil says, I bought Gotcha Force for GameCube when it first came out. Expensive now. Also have limited edition Zeldas for it.
That must be that one.
That's the promotional disc, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
Dylan said, I'm still pursuing my PS4 shooter set. A few I've missed, but not hard to find and not too expensive yet.
Keyword.
Duncan said, I got the Rising Star subset on DS. All the games have been on CEX. Several of the games are £90 to £100. They have been a good investment. Rachel says, fun enough, I don't want to buy games because I don't have the space. I was happy to use emulator. A friend gave me an answer 2 years ago. I just went nuts buying games and consoles. Blimey. Phil said he doesn't own My Horse and Me Too. What?
Yeah,
My Horse and Me.
I think I own it on the Wii as well.
Yeah, mate. I've got it on the Wii. I've got both on the Wii. Eddie's off to the doctors because he's got worms.
Yeah. You need to go get that checked out, Eddie.
Metal Jen says, not going for full sets and own Diva Ballerina. I know.
Yeah.
Ballerina would definitely be in mint condition worldwide if people didn't play it on a regular basis. I don't think anybody played that, to be honest with you.
Talking about that sort of thing, actually.
I would say it's a 505 game, so I know one person, was very, very keen on picking up 505 games at one point for a certain system. So
yeah, I was going to say, like buying like that Ballerina one, etc., because you see them in charity shops and CX and whatever cheap, and people are like, oh, so they make the mistake of buying the cheaper games first for the set. But I think, for example, for me, I was kind of like forced into that issue. Like I didn't have that much I could spend, so it's like I'd have the odd $5 here, and it's like I want to get the most for my $5. It's only like there's times when I'll be able to buy the more expensive ones, but if I did, I saved up for ones which I knew I'd want first, so I knew I'd want to play them. like Smash Bros for my 64, for example. So although it might not have been long-term the best way to do it, it was like the only way it could be done for me at first. So I think like that's to consider when going for a full set as well, like what your circumstances are.
I suppose so. I mean, the reason I picked that game up,
I wanted to play it.
If I was committed enough in my heart of hearts to actually go for a full set, then I think well, maybe I will. Sometimes I think maybe I will. But as Shaw mentioned ages ago about the PlayStation 2, and something that mentioned James, I think as well. But I started off probably at the wrong end. I went for all the cheap stuff first, and all the games I could find, which didn't cost a lot. And now I'm left with the expensive stuff. And now I'm sort of thinking, well, when it boils down to it, do I want to go and spend sort of 30 quid on a Wii game? And then realise I've got like, 200-300 of those games to pick up, which are going to cost me probably, I don't know, anywhere between, 3,000 to 5,000 quid, something like that. I don't know.
I think the other thing is, it's like, if you look at it from a YouTube point of view as well, it's like, I know people like seeing the quality titles and all that, but it's like, I think that's what everyone goes for. So it's good to see like something different, like go for the cheap, stupid titles. I think maybe your early videos where you did the pickups, like especially like get people getting to you when you like were doing many subscribers as such. It's like because it was different. You are going for different games, and not just that. You're clearly having a laugh while doing it.
That's right, and everything is very much. I'm not saying my serious gamer. I used to be a serious gamer, but it sort of shifted over the years. And you're right. When I first started doing pickups and things and going out finding games, I was picking up the games that people wouldn't pick up. So do you want to become the 100th person to start putting out? I'm going to go through all these Mario games and show all these off, or do I want to find games like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on the PlayStation 2, and battle construction vehicles, which I know you picked up the other day, which I've had for ages. Was a stupid, but that's a silly game. It's a silly game.
You saw the picture I sent then.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I thought great, fantastic. Finally, you've got it. It's a silly game.
I've had it for ages.
I know.
I found it when I was out and about. My chance. But it was.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Games like this that made me be like
Celebrity Deathmatch. Yeah,
I think weird games like this, it's like made it quite really enjoyable. I think.
Yeah, and I'd happily throw. I think I paid 50p for my copy of BCP. I'd happily throw 50p at that and get an hour's worth of fun out of it. Than sort of spend 50 quid on something I'm going to play once and think, oh well, it's not that good a game, and stick it on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right, let's go back to some of the comments. Question here for us again from Philip. It says, would you go for the HD collection of franchise games or the separate ones for when they were released on different consoles? Now, I've got absolutely no interest in HD remakes whatsoever. No. I've got one. I bought Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation 4. I don't know why. I haven't played it. I've had it nearly 2 years or whatever long it's had since it's come out. I don't know why I bought it, but I've got absolutely no interest whatsoever in getting HD remakes. I'd rather play the original games in their original format as they were intended. Very quickly, sure. So you're the same.
Yeah. I just exactly the same as you, mate. I agree.
I think it kind of depends because, for example, I think the Switch is. I think it's like they redid some of the Zeldas in HD, like they did Wind Waker, Twilight on Wii U. They've done Skyward Sword on Switch, but it's like it's an HD remake or remaster of it, but it's where they're throwing extra stuff in as well. Like, and I would count it as a separate Zelda game because they've added extra features into Wind Waker. They made Twilight like a lot more accessible than it was on the Wii with the controls. I feel with the Wii U version. And Skyward Sword, they made portable on the Switch, which it wasn't before. So it's like the same game, HD remaster, but it's thrown something else in there. So I say it depends, really. If it's literally just a game in HD, it's like, I'm not sure. But if it's got something extra that makes it worthwhile, then I say yeah.
Al?
I got sucked in the same as you. The only remakes I've got is Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the Xbox One. I don't know why, because I've got Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the PS1, so I bought them again.
I don't think I've got 2 on the PlayStation 1. I think I thought a lot of people were raving about it at the time, and I just happened to be in CEX, and there was a copy for a tenner, so I thought, well, I'll buy that.
I understand like why they do it, because if it's like a PS1 game, then yeah, it's come out years ago, and the newer gamers probably never played it, so yeah, that's a bit different. But when they brought out The Last of Us, and then they brought it out on PS4, and now they brought it out on PS5, it's like, well, The Last of Us didn't even come out that long ago. Why are you bringing it out and remastering it again?
Yeah.
Like a PS3 game ain't that old, is it? You think about that compared to a PS1 or a PS2 game, or even further back, like you got the new Alex Kidd games and stuff. It's a bit different from like 30, 40 years ago, where it wasn't the first one come out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was talking to my mate about it the other day, actually, saying like for my PS4, I want to get the Final Fantasy VII remake, because I played the original and I enjoyed it, but I couldn't properly get into it, where it's like slow turn based, whereas this one's more quick, real time. So I know it'd be much more for me. But it's like a sort of HD remake, but not a true remake.
I've got a question for you there, yeah?
Yeah.
So the original one, on the PS1, is all on disc, yeah?
Yeah.
The PS4 one's not, is it?
Not I'm aware of.
So what happens now if they decide tomorrow, we can't bother with these servers no more, and they shut them all down?
I think that's the problem. I mean, I've still got the original if it came to it.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
I'll
saying.
still play it, but
people who haven't.
I think that's the thing. Like, I suppose it forced people to do it, and then again, you can download, say, for example, it digitally on, say, on the eShop. So I suppose that way it's downloaded to your console. It's not necessarily reliant on the online, apart from downloading it in the first place. So
yeah, but I suppose that's all right. But then if you got if it's online play,
yeah,
they shut down the servers. That we've had a lot of problem with the Xbox 360 lately. We've been rushing through games because they give us 2 months' notice that these servers are shutting down.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for the question, Phil. Eddie's asked a question. When deciding to go for a full set, what is more important, the quality of the games or how easily it would take to complete the set? I think I've answered that question with what I've shown tonight. It's definitely not the quality of the games, that's for sure. But again, going back to earlier, I mean, when I first started collecting the Wii games, it was like, it seemed dead easy because they were all, so many of them were so cheap. I thought I'd get the cheap ones first, then get the expensive ones afterwards. But obviously, that's not the way to do it. I suppose really, if I look at it, I would not look at the quality of the games. I would just simply go, what's an achievable set? Because I did think at one point the Master System was not say easy achievable, but seemed realistic compared to other systems that I was playing. So for me, from that point of view, and again when I started collecting the Wii stuff, and to an extent the PlayStation 2, they were everywhere. So I thought, well, don't know, I never realised how many games there were to start with. Otherwise, I'd never have done it. But for me, the ease of convenience of finding them pretty much everywhere would mean you get, a lot of the set straight off. So, Sean, what do you think?
I mean, a lot of sets I'm collecting, there's not really much quality in them, to be honest. So I've got to go with the latter part of that, how easy it is to complete the set. But saying that, it's not always that easy to complete little sets even. So even if there ain't any quality in them. No, I don't know exactly where it's coming from. You're on about quality as in games that you want to play, or is it on about quality as in that the generally regarded as better games?
Well, I think we're probably getting that there for me is, if you say, for example, we're going for a set of, I don't know, ocean games, would it bother you that some of those games were pretty terrible? Or would you just, think, well, it's an easy set to complete, I'll go with them? So I know that Sparkler set you're going for, I mean, the quality of those games there is pretty terrible.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So is the Blast.
So is the
Blast. The Blast ones as well,
yeah. No, I mean, I have to say how easy it is. Going back to what Rachel was saying earlier, asking, about when you've complete a set? You know, is it anticlimactic? And for me, no. I love getting the full set, and it might sound sad, but many times I'll go into my lockup and I'll look at my full sets, and there's a genuine sense, you know, I'm proud. I'm proud to own them, and yeah, I don't think I'll ever get bored of you know, owning that set and thinking, you know, I'm bored of that now. Let's move on. I'm moving on because I've completed it, but certainly not because I'm bored of it. Like I say, I love seeing my full sets, and I mean, especially it's squads that look good together. The Silverbird range of pretty nice to look at. So yeah, there's a nice sense of achievement, a nice sense of, you know, seeing what you've purchased and what you've got. So, but in answer to Eddie's question, it's got to be how easy it is. Really, crack on with it, get ahead of it, and then suffer suffer the expensive ones towards end.
Martin,
I think for me, it probably be a bit of both. Like, for example, with my 64 set, it's like, I think genuinely there's quite a few quality games on there. And that is important to me. There's loads of games that I think are pretty good to play. But although it's not the easiest one to collect for, it's got like 240. In terms of game number, it's like nowhere near as many as, say, like your Xbox 360, for example. And in terms of like the price, it's not necessarily too bad because there's not many games that are like expensive, like £100 plus. There's some, but not many. It's more like actually finding them. So I think it's ideal because it seems to be almost in that sort of like perfect balance for me, like in terms of the quality of the games that are on there, or at least the ones that I'll really enjoy. But it's also not like totally out of the way because it's like, say, there's all them Xbox games, but it's going to be loads that either take ages to find or more expensive. It's a lot more manageable, I think, for me personally, like with the 64.
Yeah.
And Alan.
Is there not good games on every system?
Well, there are.
Yeah.
There are, but I think
Yeah.
like what percentage of it is like.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wii's got quite a few good games, but it's got way more shovelware on it.
Yeah, but what do you class as quality personally though? Because is it saying what someone's told you? Oh, this is a good game, so therefore it must be good. Because you might play it and think this is a load of rubbish. So what do you class as quality?
I suppose it would depend on you, really. It's like whether you yourself find it quality. For me personally, there's loads of games I really enjoy on the 64. So ones that to me are quality. But it's like on the way, it's like, yeah, there's quite a few good games that I think I generally consider good. But there's not like as many I would consider good on there as there is, say, compared to the 64 in terms of a number or a percentage of the set.
It's like going for the 360 set. It's like all of you might come out with, oh, this game's really good, that game's really good, and you took the mickey out of Ross earlier saying about kids games, but I absolutely love them. I've completed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I love that game. Mega Man. Cars. I've completed Cars 1 and Cars 2 so far. I need to do the third one. I find them great.
It's personal preference at the end of the day. I mean, I always say a game is a game. If somebody tells you it's good or bad, that it tries to influence your judgment on it. You've got to play it yourself. I mean, you know, probably 9 times out of 10 people are right when they say this is a terrible game. It is, but you
don't know.
I mean,
try it. That's what I said about going for a full set.
Yeah.
Unless you've played all them games, how do you know what's good and what ain't?
I know there are good games and bad games. You know, I know that, you know, generally speaking, people love the Street Fighter games. I personally don't, but I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's just a game I just don't particularly enjoy.
You don't get on with
playing.
it, yeah.
I don't get on with it, but I'm not saying it's a bad game because it's not. Because the general perception, the overall reception of the game, and how game has proceeded, and the fact the series has continued on and on for, you know, best part of 30 odd years, it must be pretty good because obviously it wouldn't have got that far, would it? You know, so it's a good game. I just don't like it. But that I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's just not my choice of game. Okay, thank you for that question, Eddie. very quick one here from Cornerstone again. Do you think Sony and Microsoft should make all-in-one consoles of their past machines now we are 20 years into their console lineup, one machine to play all past games upgraded for HDMI?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
Sean?
No.
Full out.
I'm
Full
fully
out.
all
There we go. No,
The price alone's good enough reason not to do it.
Yeah, I think what you'll find is they'll find a way to release remakes and upgraded versions and various things of the games. Backwards compatible. That's word. Thank you for mentioning that. That's what we're looking for. But they'll do that in order to make sure they can still do it or mine a few extra quid out of it at the end of the day. So, a question for Alan, very, very quickly from Eddie: would you consider collecting for the Mega Drive again and actually complete it this time?
Completed it last time. that game where there's like 8 copies of it doesn't count. But yeah, if he actually joined earlier when we was actually talking about it, he'd know the answer. And I said you'd be mad if you was going for a set like that now, just for the fact that how much everything's gone up.
You should go for the American games like Thomas. I still don't get why that's a US exclusive. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Tank Engine, great.
Yeah, I actually do play it now and then for a laugh. There you go. That's the ultimate kids game, Russ.
Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah, has he got the theme tune on it?
What's that? Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah. Janky's asked the question: what are our most favourite game sets that you own? I mean, for me, the one I'm probably most proudest of is probably my Master System collection, because I've actually gone after it in a sensible and focused manner, unlike everything else I've collected for. I've just gone in like an octopus with eight tentacles, waving around and grabbing everything I can do. The Master System, I've at least tried to focus and do that properly. So for me, that's the one that gives me the most satisfaction when I sort of look through all the systems and go, yeah, that's probably the one I'm proudest of at the moment. Alan.
So mine has 2 shelves dedicated to it, and that is my Pokemon games.
Oh, come on.
There we go. Pokemon Yellow.
As you can see behind. Look, I've even bought them little silly display things, what they call them, old nail polish, just to hold my game.
Oh, nail polish stands, yeah.
So when we talk about the subsets, we haven't really touched on the subsets other than Sean's. One of my subsets is to try and get the Pokemon actual games, not all them stupid spin-off ones they made of it, but the actual role-playing games. And I'm missing one of the cardboard box ones. Well, technically 2 if you want to count Soul Silver, big box. But
I'm going Japanese.
I need Crystal. I'm not even touching the Japanese stuff. I've got one Japanese game and that will do. But yeah, there's quite a lot of these, and with all the DS shutting down their servers, didn't really help, because some of the Pokemon games I want have gone up in price now. Because I thought I'd leave them till later.
And I think to follow on from that, if we're talking series, then yeah, same here. But I'm doing more than now. Like, I've gone for foreign games. I'm going for a lot of the spin-off ones as well. I mean, this one you won't see much. It's not the Japanese Pokemon box, which came out for the GameCube. It's like a storage system more than anything.
Yeah.
But I bought the Japanese one because it's got this exclusive red and blue see-through memory card, which is based on the Ruby and Sapphire cartridges. But I've started also going to try and get the proper role-playing games that I'm missing. I got Black and Pearl last month. I'm halfway towards getting credit for Platinum. But there's, like, as Al said, there's quite a lot. And I think I've got pretty much all of them now, apart from the cardboard box ones. Like, I've got a lot of the cartridges, but I don't have a box version.
I'm probably missing about 8, but they're more the DS ones.
Yeah, I think DS, like, there's 4 maybe I'm missing, 5 most. It's more like, in terms of the games, I have pretty much all of them. I think there's only like 4 I'm missing, but I don't have the box versions of the older ones. And there's still a few spin-offs I want to get, like, not just Japanese ones, English ones as well. I mean, I think when I did my collection video, I think I counted 71 games for it.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. If anyone likes these Pokemon games. We both have collection videos on our channel.
Yeah, be warned, mine's like an hour.
Yeah,
So you need
mine was still about 40 minutes.
Yeah, but people can't put up with my voice for 1 hour, so I don't know how they're still listening now.
They put up with you for 2 hours nearly, yeah.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I don't know how they're doing it with my voice for that long. I can't do it. I listened to my old video at work the other day because I was bored to see how different it was, and I couldn't cope with more than 5 minutes on my voice. So.
Sean, very quickly, same question to you.
Well, there's two avenues for me. First one on just the collecting side. Rather than predictably go for my Silverbird, I'm going to say my CRL horror collection, which consists of 5 Frankenstein, Dracula. There's 2 Frankensteins. One's a misprint. Wolfman Witch, Wolfman and Jack the Ripper. And I've got Eddie to thank for Jack the Ripper, was it? He found it. I didn't actually think it existed on cassette, but yeah, he found it for me. Playing wise, it's got to be my COD because, you know, I do like my COD and I've played many iterations of it. So,
Sean, did you know in London there's a genuine chip shop chain called Jack the Chipper? I saw it on YouTube.
That's good.
Then when I went to London a couple of months ago, I actually saw one of them.
Yeah.
It's good, that.
I like it.
Oh, dear me. Just want to say to Gordon, who's popped in, and Tetley's here as well, Gordon. And also Ian from the Poltergeist podcast is here as well. I'm just trying to get through as many of these comments as I can because people have been really busy with them, and obviously we've been answering questions. So just trying to pick out some edited highlights. David says, if I go for a full Xbox Series X set, then does that mean I have to have all the versions, including low quality collector's edition statues? Maybe I could use them as gargoyles.
No.
Boothie says, just go for a full set of Man United shirts, Martin.
Yeah, it's not like there's like 100 odd years worth of information.
Philip says, going back to playing HD collections rather than the originals, he'd rather play Silent Hill 2 and 3 on the PS2 rather than the HD collection. And he's also got Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes on the PlayStation 4, but also got the originals. Danny says, I prefer the original copies and the HD-esque collections, they have a little more nostalgia. Back to The Last of Us, Eddie says the PS4 release was genius. A lot of people jumped from 360 to PS4 like myself, so it's the first time they played the game. Duncan says DS Rising Star set has become some real common games and some very obscure but fun games I had never heard of until doing research. I really enjoyed collecting the 51 games. That's a subset of a subset, I think, isn't it, that one? Yeah. Philip said, I'm still happy playing with the original Dead Space 1 on PlayStation 3 rather than the PS5 remake. Ian mentioned he was going for a full charity shop set, 34 copies of FIFA 09 with at least 40% of the discs missing, and 19 copies of SingStar with at least one having the last owner's dinner smudged all over it. I left a copy of Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 in the charity shop for the exact reason. Now, I will pick up a game with a ballerina on the front, but I will leave something with someone's dinner half attached to it behind. Let's have a net. Mrs. Bears, I'll come back to that in a second. Mrs. Bears, also the question there as well. Duncan says, I collected obscure Wii games because of YouTube recommendations, e.g. GTI Club paid £3 cash locally 3 years ago. It's now £70 in CEX. I'm so gutted. I had a chance to probably get that for about 15 quid. When I started collecting, but of course, that time I was collecting on the budget, so I wouldn't spend that much money on it. So now I really regret it because it's a game I actually played in the arcade. Funnily enough, Japanese GameCube games are stunning. Going back to Martin's Pokemon box, love the size and the foil print.
It's like a little plastic case, and then you get the cardboard sleeve. It's quite cool, actually.
It's in really good condition.
Yeah, Danny says many Japanese games have some of the best anime type artwork on them. Good
artwork.
Yeah. I don't want you showing those games that you pick up. Thank you.
For the full adult Switch subset.
Yeah.
Switch subset, yeah.
Yeah. We may get onto that one. Yeah.
Spoiler. There's a new one.
Yeah.
Is there? Oh yeah, I think I've heard about that one. Philip's off. Thanks for calling in, Philip. Thanks for all your questions tonight.
See you, Phil.
Couple of questions to come in. We'll try and get these in before we finish, and we've got about 10 to 10. Mrs. Bear says, "Is it all about nostalgia for a particular system or Sunset?" I think she means Subset. Or is it more about the achievement?
I think it's nostalgia for the Sunset. It does look quite nice.
It does. It does. Oh dear. Seeing as that was a cheeky response, we'll start with you then, Martin.
I think it's nostalgia because I do have a lot of nostalgia for the 64. It's like it was my second ever console, but it's the first one where I fully appreciated it. So I've got a lot of nostalgia for it and playing with my brother, playing with my mates and all that. Like I got it as I started secondary school, so got to really know people doing whatever. So in terms of that, but when I had like the Wii U, it wasn't. But I think it is also about like the achievement. Like it feels like I have actually accomplished something. It's like it's something that's easy to do generally. So it's like I actually managed to still do it. It does bring satisfaction in that regard. So I think for me, definitely the satisfaction, like achievement and nostalgia, depending on what it was.
I think for me, it's the ones I've collected. It's a nostalgia. And again, I'm sort of thinking ones I've collected for, like the Hit Squads, for the 8-bit systems, particularly. But then when I started picking the Wii, because I like the system. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed the motion controls put onto it. And although I've got a reasonably good condition Master System set, I don't have a nostalgia for that because I never actually had one. But my friend did, and I always wanted one. So in a way, I'm sort of tagged into that as well. So I think a lot of the stuff I've collected over the years, it is a nostalgia kick for me, really. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to achieve it one day, but I think at the moment I'm sort of, looking back, and these give me a lot of sense of enjoyment, I suppose, really. Sean?
It's a good question, that. It's a bit.
I know.
Of
I'm
both.
surprised as well this time of night. She's usually lying on the sofa drunk, so I'm quite surprised she mentioned it.
I'm surprised Basti didn't say like, "Yeah, it's actually my question. I just got her to say it, so it doesn't look like I'm like pushing my own."
Does it sound like the sort of question I'm going to come up with? No.
If it's about the Sunset, probably.
Yeah, if he said that, he'll have a black eye in his next video.
Yeah, that's. I'll start wearing an eye patch. You know why? Without a parrot. Yeah. Go on, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, I've got a lot of nostalgia for my C64. But saying that, certain subsets, I've never played any of the games in them, so it comes back to the achievement part of it. So it's a bit of both, really, for me. It's hard to pinpoint exactly which side.
Okay, Danny's left the chat, but thanks for popping in, Danny. Good to see you again. Alan, same question to you.
Right, so I've got the rest of my pile here, so I might as well go through it now, as this is like
Okay,
perfect question for it. So
I'll give you the big screen. Off you go.
So going on like nostalgia, obviously we talked about the Pokemon stuff.
Yes.
So I've got nostalgia for that. As for other subsets, I'm going for the PlayStation 2, I'm going for like the driving games. And that is nostalgia because I love driving games. So I missed the PS2 era completely. So going back and checking these games out for the first time is great.
Any racing game? All the Gran Turismos.
I've probably got about 100 racing games up there. You've probably never heard of.
I must admit,
all I pick up.
I do love a good PS2 racer, and I do like a bad PS2 racer as well. So
I've got a lot of PS1 racers as well. Most of them are really bad. As for like achievement side of things, I'm going for the only on PlayStation titles, as it says here. But that's not nostalgia. That's because I just want the exclusives because everything else I've got on the 360, so don't want it twice.
Achievement wise, I thought you were going to go the ones you can get an easy 1000G on.
Oh no, yeah. This one's a comical one. So as you would all know, we've got the full set of the PS4 Sedesco, whatever it's called. I don't know if I'm still saying it right or wrong. But,
Kaze, I think.
Sodesco.
The company.
Sodesco.
I was saying it
I don't
wrong
even
for
know how
years,
to
apparently.
pronounce it.
And
I don't know how to even also.
You say a lot of things wrong over the years.
So, other than that, now, like I've got a full 360 set, and I'm like, what shall I do now? So I'm actually going for steelbooks. So every time I find a nice steelbook,
yeah,
I picked this one up particularly for one of your normal panel members, but not just for the Xbox 360. I also collect the Xbox One as well. So I picked up a nice COD one the other week. Actually, it will be coming up in one of my videos soon, Sean. You'll enjoy that.
Nice.
Plug.
But yeah, so
plug.
yeah, so that's the sort of like subset I'm going for. Like, if I find a steelbook that looks nice, I'll pick that up. Any PS3 ones that say only on PlayStation, PS1 and PS2 driving games, and Pokemon stuff. That's pretty much all I'm collecting, other than the odd Wii game here or there that I fancy.
I mean, Duncan's answered the question as well. Thanks, Claire, for the question, by the way. I've been collecting since I started playing Game Boy Color. I've kept all the games. I don't buy for nostalgia. I think it's unusual. I think that's.
I think he would have been the perfect panelist to be on here for this.
Yeah, well, we might have to follow it up and do another one on these, because it's quite an interesting subject. I'm going to take one more question, which is from Cornerstone. Again, thank you for your question tonight, 3 or 4 tonight. Would you collect handheld games like the old VU 3D games, which had a car, tank, and plane versions, and the old Game & Watch stuff? Now, we've answered that question about nostalgia. I've really got no nostalgia at all for those sort of games. Particularly the Game & Watch stuff. I think I maybe played on 2 Game & Watches ever in my entire life. So for me, I wouldn't go after anything like that at all. Al?
I don't even know what a VU 3D game is.
Is it one of them things that you're held up to?
I think the old Tomitronic thing.
Oh, that's Tomitronic, isn't it? Yeah.
Possibly, I don't know.
I've got no idea what it is, so I wouldn't even think about collecting for that. As for the Game & Watch stuff, yeah, they look nice, but I've got no nostalgia for them, so no. I'm not going for that sort of stuff.
Sure.
I've toyed with the idea a long time ago, because I like Astro Wars and those kind of handheld kind of games, and I did used to own some little handheld LCD type of games, but yeah, it was just another thing taking up more storage space. So again, it's one of them things that had to go. So, but no, I've not really got that much nostalgia for those things. As nice as some of them are, I'd like to own an Astro Wars, and that'd be it. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm not bothered. I'm not really bothered about Game & Watch.
Okay, Martin.
I think the same as Al, really. I mean, you've played back 2 more Game & Watch than I ever have, so no nostalgia. So yeah, I'd probably say the same sort of thing. I'd say maybe more like I could be tempted to buy say the Tiger Electronics if it's one that's really relevant to me, like the Sonic one, for example.
I had the Sonic and the Turtles one, and they're like the only 2 I can remember.
Yeah, it's like I think that's the only sort of thing like that I'd go for, but it would probably be like Sonic, and that would probably be about it.
Duncan said he'd happy make a rare appearance, so we'll talk to you about that at some point, Duncan. Be good to have you on. And last question for our guests tonight, and then we'll wrap this up because we're on time at the moment. From Ian, what's a better rate, a Pippa Funnels Highway to Hell or Barbie's Battle Carts?
I've not heard of them games. Can Ian come on and tell us what they are? Funny enough, though, they both made horse racing games. Does that count?
Yeah. Have you ever played a Pippa Funnel game? I wouldn't bother.
I played it.
Yeah, not a good one, that one.
I played it for a bit. It was a bit
I did as well.
For me.
The Wii one, I think. Is it Ranch Rescue or something? I
It's
think
the
I
same
played
one.
that for a bit with Manda.
The same one that's on the PlayStation too.
It's literally like My Horse and Me. You go around, you stroke some horses, you get on them, do a few jumps.
There is nothing we don't know about horse games.
Yeah, that's it. When we do a horse game special,
we'll try and get People Funnel on to talk about it. See what her contribution was to the actual game that she made. Maybe we can test her on it and see what she can remember about it.
I think she's shaving her legs that night.
Yeah, possibly. Or the horse's legs. I don't know which one we're going.
But you have a true horse game collection without the Zeldas. Because horse riding's a big bit on some of them.
Well, I think we're talking pure horse. We should try and contact everybody who's made a horse game. So we're talking Ellen Whittaker, Mary King, Pippa Funnel. Try and get them all on. We'll have a horse game special. Two very quick
horse after.
Yeah, don't forget Frankie the Tory.
Oh yeah, Frankie. Yeah, of course, that's right. He was there behind the game, wasn't he? Couple of requests for Sean before we finish tonight. Eddie says, "Yeah, you should do a series playing some of the games from his subsets the first time." And also, I'm guessing it's you, Sean. Can someone sing the Hit Squad's theme tune on the way out?
Yeah. I was like, Hit Squads, Hit Squads.
I need a T-shirt as well.
Very quickly, leave the laughter with Duncan because he's made some good comments tonight. Wii horse game disc make great bird scare as he flung down the allotment. So obviously never play one himself. There we go. Oh, there we go. What we got here? That champion
D1 jockey Wii 2008.
D1 jockey. Yeah.
They got that on the 360 as well.
I think it came out on everything, Alan, to be fair. So that's it. Okay, well, we've hit the 2 hour mark, so we'll let people enjoy the rest of their bank holidays, not interrupt them any further. But I hope that sort of covered the subjects of sets. Maybe not perhaps how I thought it might have gone, but I think we've certainly covered some of our idiosyncrasies and methods and reasons why. And I'd like to say a massive thank you, first of all, to everybody in the chat tonight who's asked so many great questions for us. Really do appreciate that. And as we said at the start, you're the 5th panelist, so great contributions tonight. And thanks to all the lads for their answering the questions honestly as best we can and try and give the best answers that we could do to those questions. Sean and Martin, thanks very much for giving up your time once again.
No worries,
appreciate you coming
on. Enjoyed that.
And don't forget everybody to pop along to their channels, Retro Games Revived and The Geek Master. Have a check the videos, have a pop around, see what you think. Hopefully you'll find something you'll enjoy there and give them a like and a subscription if you haven't done so already. And a massive thank you to our huge guest in terms of YouTube royalty. We can't say any more than that. Big Game Al.
Okay, I like where you had to emphasise what you meant.
I know, just in case anybody thinks I was being rude. I wasn't. But I think you're probably the biggest size in terms of subscription numbers. Getting digging a hole here. Sorry, I'll get out of it in a second. That we've had on now. We haven't done too many people going over 1,000 subs before. So
I think I'm also the highest amount of guest appearances who ain't an actual tNb member as well. No,
I think you've done 3 and 2 unscheduled appearances. I think probably they're best described. Yeah. But no, pleasure as always, mate, to have you on. No, pleasure to have you on, mate. It's good to have him on. Yes, our old friend in the corner there, Big Game Al. Big Gay Owl, there he is. Gay Owl, simple for that.
Let's go.
And don't forget, go along to Al's channel and feel free to like and unsubscribe as always. Give him our best. Gents, if you'd like to give everybody away before you finish, I'll drop you backstage. Thanks again for your time.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
It's been a long night. That was good fun. Hope you've enjoyed that tonight. Good fun. Thanks for calling in, everybody. Like I said, thanks for everybody who's been in the chat tonight. Superb. Not have a great contribution. We're quite sure, both being the bank holiday, if anybody was going to pop in as usual, but you've kept us going tonight, and we've done another full 2 hours, which has been brilliant. So thank you very much indeed. We're back again in 2 weeks' time, which I think is the 11th of June, possibly. It's the second Sunday in June with another episode. It'll be episode number 80. Got no idea what we're doing yet. But like I said, if you want to come on the podcast at all at any point, just drop a comment below. And we'll see what we can sort out for you. Always happy to have a special guest. So like Al's been on 3 or 4 times now. We had known people pop up once before. I know a couple of people contact me about coming on, so I'll try and get back to you guys and see if we can get something arranged. But yeah, that's all for now. I hope you enjoy the rest of your bank holiday. And if you're off this week, it's school holidays as well. Hope you have a good time. Thanks for everybody who's watched tonight, contributed, etc. It's been absolutely brilliant. And we'll see you again soon. But on behalf of the panel and myself and our special guest, Big Game Al, Retro Bear saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.